What's up, everybody? Superworks fan here for another weekly update in the Mustang GT. So, as you know, if you watched this past weekend's video of my first red line run in this car, you know that it's now broken in, which is glorious. And since then, I've actually been racking up the miles pretty good here. Driving a lot. I'm up to 1,400 miles now in the GT, and I'm going to be doing another little mini road trip this weekend, just about 2 hours each way to actually sell my exhaust system from the EcoBoost to someone who also has a guard EcoBoost actually, and is going to be installing it on his car. So very cool. I was able to work that out with him, because shipping exhaust parts is such a pain. There's a lot of people that wanted me to ship the parts and stuff, and it's way too much trouble, especially for exhaust parts that are enormous. Just not my thing. So I was happy to find someone local, and even if it means driving a couple of hours, to me that's highly preferable over shipping stuff that big. So yeah, otherwise though, I'm still just loving the car here. By the way, on my little road trip that I did last Friday to review a car, I actually averaged on the highway 27 miles per gallon on the way down and 26 on the way up, which is really respectable considering I have the slightly shorter 355 gears instead of the 331s that come standard on the GT, and they're obviously not as aggressive as the 373s, which give you even slightly less fuel economy. So I have the middle one here, and to still get 27 miles per gallon on the highway, and that's not really babying it either, no cruise control or anything, honestly, and so it's pretty impressive. The EcoBoost would on average get between 30 to 32 on the highway. My all-time max was 34, and I was really taking it easy in the EcoBoost on the highway. So honestly, I'm within 3 to 5 miles per gallon off as far as highway figures go. So it's really impressive, and that also helps the range, because that is the one little thing that isn't even a complaint, but it's one difference, obviously, is because the GT, I don't think it has a bigger gas tank, or if it is, it's only maybe like a half a gallon bigger than the EcoBoost, which means that your range is a lot less than I'm used to with the EcoBoost. So, on average in a tank, I can get, maybe 275 to 300 miles per tank, whereas on the highway, it's well over 300, once you get the higher fuel economy and stuff of the highway miles. So I'm actually really happy with the fuel economy, honestly, and I think it's just going to get better here now that it's broken in. I'm going to have, my first week here coming up of full, just stop and go city driving and stuff, which I think should improve a little bit as well now that it's broken in. But I think the gas mileage is totally livable. Like I said, especially that I was really surprised by the highway. I thought maybe I'd get 23, 25 on the highway. To get 27 easily is pretty impressive. So I'm going to be on my next little road trip here that I'm going to be doing on Sunday. I'm going to be using cruise control, and I'll see if I can even get higher than that. But yeah, so great, as far as that goes. Otherwise, nothing else is new with it. I'll be doing separate videos talking about mods in the future, and because I get so many comments and questions about what mods are you going to do, are you going to do modifications, all that kind of stuff, and the short answer is I'm probably going to leave it stock, but I want to go more in depth on that question and talk about exactly why, so that people don't just get upset and annoyed that I'm not doing anything crazy to this. But anyone that saw all the stress that I went through with the EcoBoost, and the stress that the mods caused me, will understand and should be expecting that I'm not going to be doing a tune on this car. I'm not going to be doing any kind of crazy loud exhaust or anything like that. But yeah, I'll go more in depth in that here at a later time. But anyway, that's it for all the updates. I'll send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, for this week's news, the first thing is very exciting news for those that have been waiting forever for any kind of news about a new Mazda RX-7 successor. So this past week, Holiday Auto, which is a Japanese website, they got some information, and they're claiming, this is just a report, still just rumors, so nothing set in stone, but they have heard that there is going to be a 400 horsepower Mazda RX-9 that's going to weigh less than 2,800 pounds or 2,900 pounds. So you're talking about a car that's the weight of a BRZ roughly, with 400 horsepower. And if that doesn't make your mouth water, I don't know what does, but it's pretty impressive what we're hearing here. So and now it's not going to be coming super soon. So they're saying, it'll probably, I'm guessing, look somewhat like the RX Vision concept we saw last year. And that was amazing looking. So they said they're going to show a concept version of the RX-9 at the 2017 Tokyo Motor Show. Now, the 2016 Motor Show for Tokyo is coming up here at the end of October. So we're talking not this October, but next October. So you still have over a year to wait to even see the concept. Then they said the production version of the RX-9 will be shown at the Tokyo Motor Show for 2019. So we're talking about definitely at least 2020 model year car, because that's going to be at the end of 2019 when they finally debut this. So it's going to probably even be a 2021 model. So we're way far out there, but it's coming according to this report. So they're saying it's going to use a 1.6 liter 2-rotor Wankel engine with a single turbocharger. That's how it's going to get its 400 horsepower. And they said that they're shooting for a low curb weight of 1,300 kilograms, which is, like I said, 2,866 pounds, which would be very, very impressive. And now, as far as the price that's rumored, again, all rumors, but they're saying that according to their report here, it would cost just under 8 million yen. So if you do the conversion rate for, the current conversion, you're looking at a car that's just under $80,000. So we're talking about something that could kind of be viewed as a GTR competitor almost, or at least what the GTR used to be priced at before it skyrocketed in price over the past, 7 years here or whatever. But that is what we're hearing. So, again, just rumors, nothing to hold your breath over, but at least we will know for sure whether this report was true by, roughly this time next year when the Tokyo Motor Show comes around. If we see a concept version of the RX-9, we will know that, okay, they're actually doing this and this is something they're working on. But in the meantime, we can just eagerly, await this. And it's going to be a long wait, though. So hopefully you have some patience. There's 2 cars that were debuted at the Concours d'Elegance this past week that were debuted at the very end of the week, so I didn't get to catch them in last week's weekly update. The first is Cadillac has unveiled the Cadillac Escala concept, which is kind of, I guess they're saying it's like a Mercedes CLS competitor, so 4-door sedan, but a little bit of a coupe profile to it, although this one just seems like a normal sedan to me, honestly, but could be a new flagship kind of thing. But again, this is just a concept, mostly probably just a design study. I wouldn't, bank on this ever making production, and it looks cool, though. I gotta say, they're saying this is going to signal a new direction for Cadillac, so I guess maybe they're going to ditch the vertical headlights in exchange for these horizontal ones here that do look good, very, very slim and kind of Audi-esque there in the front a little bit. The back end, though, I love those taillights, and the way they did that rear portion is just really, really beautiful, honestly. And the interior is very simplistic, and I really like the styling of that as well. And it's overall a really cool car that, again, is just going to signal, you probably won't see this entire car ever produced, but you'll probably see bits and pieces. I'm sure that grille and that front bumper and maybe even the headlights and stuff like that will, work their way in a slightly more production-friendly form for, new cars in the future. But cool to see that. Also, under the hood of this thing is a 4.2-liter twin-turbo V8 engine, which is almost certainly going to be seen in the new CT6, as well as could be a future power plant for other stuff in the Cadillac range as well. So interesting to see that nonetheless. And another car that was debuted was the Lamborghini Centenario Roadster, which just the Roadster version of the normal Centenario, which is to commemorate Ferruccio Lamborghini's 100th birthday if he were to still be alive. I still don't actually like the way this car looks. I didn't like the original Centenario, and it doesn't look any better as a Roadster here. They're only making 20 of them, so very limited thing. They're already all sold out, of course, and it's just a Lamborghini Aventador that they put this more futuristic body on it, and will probably be a hint to what we could see for the next generation flagship V12 supercar from Lamborghini, or could give us some hints as to a facelifted version of the Aventador that should be coming here relatively soon as well. But it's cool nonetheless. It's still very fast, 2.9 seconds 0 to 60. It's going to be $2.3 million in typical limited Lamborghini fashion. 759 horsepower from the V12 there, from the Aventador. And, it's like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the looks, but it's radical, and that's what Lamborghini goes for, and so cool to see that nonetheless. A more appealing supercar that actually is going to be obtainable for more people now is the Ford GT. Now, of course, they were only going to be doing 2 years of production, and they're only going to build a few hundred of them. Well, now they're doing an extra 2 years of production, so they're doubling production of the Ford GT. So they said that the third year will be used for anyone that was waitlisted on the original application process. Those people will be getting the car. People that were on the wait list will now be put in line to actually get one in the third year. The fourth year will be for people that were rejected or just missed the application window, and they'll start taking applications for that 4th production run in early 2018. So you have some time to, get your resumes prepared, for the next application for those that still didn't get in and would like to order one. So great to see that, and I think it's awesome. I mean, if people want to buy these things, build as many of them as possible. I think it's fantastic. Whether there's 500 or 1,000 of them out there, they're still going to be amazing to see and still not that common in the grand scheme of things. So the more the better, in my opinion. So really great news there. Some other great news is a rumor that we'll be seeing a coupe version of the Fiat 124 Spider here, and it could be coming as soon as next year. So, Mazda has always been very stubborn about doing a hardtop Miata, and they just finally gave us the retractable fastback roof Miata that'll be coming here very soon, but even that is still a convertible and it's not an actual fixed roof hardtop, which is what everyone's been clamoring for years. And Fiat isn't as stubborn. They're, hey, we'll give it more power because you want more power, we'll give you more power. You want a hardtop, we'll give you a hardtop. And that honestly makes it more likable than the Miata just for that reason alone. So Fiat is apparently working on a 124 Coupe. Now, historically, they always did make a 124 Coupe as well alongside the Spider version for many years. So this fits in with, keeping with the historical theme of the 124 here for the new version as well. So as far as what it would look like. Now, some people have rendered, ideas of it looking like a Cayman with the rear end and stuff, but most likely it's going to be a lot like the 124 Rally that we saw that debuted alongside the Abarth version here, and that could be what it would be. So essentially, it would almost be like a hardtop, on top of the convertible type thing, except it would actually be fixed, permanent, and give it the extra rigidity that a lot of people, I think, are looking for. And so who knows, there'll probably almost certainly be an Abarth version. There may be a faster version than that even as well. Who knows? But great to see that nonetheless. And in other Fiat news, anyone who leases or buys a 124 Abarth or the 500 Abarth, they are going to be getting a free day of driving school at Bondurant School of Driving in Vegas. And it's pretty awesome. Now, obviously, Ford has done this with the ST models in the past, and there's been other companies. Dodge has done it with the Viper and whatnot, so this isn't a brand new idea. But it's pretty cool that, these classes are usually at over $1,000 easy, for a one-day class here, and for them to be making it free. Now, you have to pay for all your accommodations and your flight and food and stuff. They're just giving you the course for free, but still, still a generous thing, especially on a car that's as inexpensive as the Fiat, that you can get the Abarth version for less than $30,000. So to get a free $1,000 driving lesson out of it is also just a really nice perk. The free session includes instructor-led skid, autocross, slalom, and team rally cross activities, in addition to hot laps. Just pretty awesome that they're offering that there, and just sweetens the deal for anyone that may be considering the Miata versus the 124. You may have one extra reason to go for the Fiat now. And if somehow you haven't been hearing enough about the new Corvette ZR1 that's coming recently and you need more pictures, there are now more pictures of the ZR1. Now, these ones are much clearer. Before, it was very grainy pictures, with that huge rear wing that I even talked about last week. So now they're much clearer. You can see it up close here. Now, the wing wasn't attached, but the wing supports were, which just, is showing just how high the wing is going to be. I mean, it's going to be one heck of a wing. And you can see the wheels here and the blue brake calipers. Pretty cool looking wheels too, I got to add. And everything else is camouflaged up here, so you can't figure out too much more. But just nice to see some clearer shots of this thing that aren't from a mile away like the previous ones. So we'll continue to wait. I'm not sure when that ZR1 is coming, but the way that it looks, it should be coming, relatively soon. Something that's available immediately is Tesla just this past week rolled out a new battery pack for the Model S and Model X. Now, it's called the P100D now. It does 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, which Tesla is claiming is the fastest production car in the world, although the LaFerrari and the Porsche 918 technically have it beat, but they're not currently in production, I don't think. I think those cars have both finished their production runs. So technically they may be right, but still bonkers. 2.5 seconds 0 to 60. I mean, you can outrun basically any supercar in the world in a Tesla. Pretty crazy. I mean, of course, once you get up to speed, the story might change a little bit there, in higher speeds, but still cool. And the main thing about this is it has a higher range. It's the first of these electric vehicles to cross over 300 miles of range. So these new P100Ds now have 315 miles of range, which is great. According to Elon Musk, they said that it was a very difficult development process trying to get the battery technology and get it all to fit so that you're able to cram that many batteries into the existing chassis of these cars. cars. And so it's pretty impressive. So as far as the prices for these, they're going to be starting for the Model S P100D at $134,500, and the Model X 100D will start at $135,500. So definitely the most expensive ones, but not that much more expensive, honestly. And you can upgrade, if you have a Model S or Model X with a P90D package, you can upgrade your battery packs for 20 grand. And if you have a P90D on order and you'd like the P100D instead, it's an extra $10,000 upgrade for those people. So it makes it a little bit easier for all of them. Also, as far as the Model X range, now because the Model S is the one that's over a 300 mile mark for the range, the Model X P100 has a range of 289 miles, so not quite 300, but still, you know, really great to see the higher range in those, and of course the higher speeds is great as well. So awesome to see that. Another thing that was cool to see this past week is that BMW was out testing a new version of the M4. Now it's too early for it to be a totally new M4, so what we're looking at here is probably what apparently was rolled out, I think, in Spain recently with a special edition M4. And so, you know, you have the M4 and you now have the M4 GTS, which is more expensive, rare, exclusive, hardcore. And so I think a lot of people want the GTS kind of look and aggression without all the harshness, and something they can still live with, you know, on a daily basis kind of thing. So I think they're going to be kind of coming up with a midway point here of a hardcore looking M4 that isn't actually as hardcore as it looks. So cool to see that. Hey, I mean, the more variants, the better. Give people options, I suppose. And so cool to see that. Kia this past week has teased the new Rio that they're going to be rolling out here relatively soon at the Paris Motor Show in September. And so we just have 3 teaser images here. And honestly, you know, it looks really good. I think the Rio is pretty attractive here, especially, you know, these concept sketches for the new version. You know, for a little inexpensive car, I think it's one of the better looking ones out there. And so, yeah, and it's apparently around the world, the Rio is the best selling Kia there is. So that's why they really try their hardest to make it as best as they possibly can. So who knows when we'll actually see this here in the States? Probably next year, but who knows? But anyway, cool to see those teaser images. And one other thing that leaked out, the final story this week, is Volkswagen's new 3-row crossover SUV that is supposed to be like a Ford Explorer fighter of sorts. We just have some pictures here from a Chinese site that managed to grab some spy shots of one completely uncovered, just parked in a garage somewhere. And, you know, so it looks pretty attractive, a little Audi-ish, of course, and should kind of, I guess, fit that, considering it's going to be as expensive as some Audis. And, you know, it looks good here, you know, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see what the price is like and stuff. But you know, and the interior is not mind-blowing either, but as far as the exterior goes, it looks pretty good. So anyway, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So I'll send it back to me in the car. Alright, so I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here, like I always do. Alright, so it's so much power, it's hard to unleash it all on public roads here. So yeah, but it's fun. I mean, I love with the stock suspension setup, the way the springs are softer, so the front end raises up and the back end squats down, and it's just very dramatic and very exciting. And yeah, it's just like I said, it's kind of hard to use on the streets all the time. So like I said, this is why, you know, a Shelby or something like that would be nice, but you could use that even less on the streets, honestly. It's just so much power. And so this is, like I said, it's plenty for daily driving stuff. One other thing I want to mention real quick, because I mentioned in last week's update that I was going to do a road rally this past weekend, and I did do the road rally, and it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, my dash cam for some reason decided not to film anything from that day of driving except the last like 30 seconds of the end of the rally, and then it didn't film anything after that for the drive home. So I don't know what was going on with the dash cam, but unfortunately I didn't have any of that footage. I was running a GoPro that was filming me and my wife as we were talking and stuff, but without the forward-facing view, it's going to be kind of hard and kind of pointless, honestly. So I just scrapped the idea of that video, unfortunately. I'm probably going to be doing another road rally at some point down the road. It was a lot of fun. Me and my wife really enjoyed it. It was a long thing as far as timed road rallies go. I think it was, you know, maybe about 4.5 hours of driving, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of really cool roads that we found, and I would definitely recommend doing one if you have a local car club or something that does that type of thing. It's a really cool little thing to do. So anyway, but yeah, sorry I wasn't able to, you know, post up a video about that, unfortunately. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Take care.